St. Mark's is a very old congregation. It's 125 years old.
It's a traditional congregation.
Enthusiastic.
Our predominant demographic in our immediate neighborhood is a lot of young families.
It's a very caring, welcoming, outgoing place.
St. Mark's is growing. The demographic of it has changed since I first got here. It wasn't bustling, it was an older congregation. We came in and people were friendly, but it was not thriving by any stretch of the imagination.
We were in a very difficult place at the time of the call. In reviewing our finances, we determined that if we continued on the path that we were on, we would probably have to close in 6 to 7 years. If we were going to move forward, we would need to bring on board a first call pastor, which this congregation had never done before.
As far as looking at someone, a gay pastor, it was one of the first questions asked.
I don't think we thought about it. I have to honestly say, as we discerned that as a call committee, that everyone was on board with it almost immediately.
It just seemed like we kind of all looked at each other, and I think, somebody offered up first, like, I have no problem with it, and then the rest of us were kind of like, neither do we.
The first candidate we did interview was Pastor Brian. All of us felt almost an immediate connection. I think what distinguished Brian was that Brian was a little older, had a lot more life experience, was a lot more passionate about not only his calling, but the direction which we hope to move in.
I think the fears came after the fact. Then we realized, whoops, we're really going to call a gay pastor. Then we kind of all said, well, what are we going to do? But
when the call committee presented Brian to the council, we were clearly talking with the council about Brian's background and experience and why we believed that Brian was clearly the best candidate for our congregation. And not to my surprise, council quickly was on board. As council informed the congregation, again, it was open and clear about Brian's background and experience.
We were fully aware, right, that there was going to be some people that were probably going to walk. 5 people may walk, but 10 more are going to walk in.
the majority of people felt that he was the man we wanted and he could do the job. And that's why we called him. We felt he was the best candidate for us and is what we needed.
The vote was a landslide. So, I mean, yes, there were some no's, but not many.
God has called a diversity of people to serve our church, and we have these amazing candidates who are ready to serve, ready to help transform congregations, and they just need congregations who are ready to partner with them.
What we find over and over is there is a particular story that seems to be consistent with gay and lesbian people who go into ministry. In most cases, almost everybody's saying no to you. The church is saying no, sometimes your family's saying no, the candidacy committee maybe says no at some point, but yet you persist with the call. And it creates a very clear, focused pastor.
And I think LGBT people have that special gift to bring to us about what it's like to be inclusive and what it's like to show love that goes beyond boundaries and walls and doors. I mean, God's love is never ending. And I think the way we show that in community is really important.
And when you go into a congregation and you see a gay man in the pulpit or a lesbian or transgender person in the pulpit, it's a message that not only is this door open to you, this whole place is open to you.
LGBTQ people have extraordinary gifts to share, and that congregations can be enriched by those gifts. And then through this process of being in ministry together, that we can all be transformed into a better church. It still happens in our church that a congregation might say, we're not ready for an LGBTQ pastor. And so our response is, let us help you get ready. Let us share resources with you so that you can be open to the person that God is calling to serve your congregation.
We saw that congregations were wanting to talk about it, but not really knowing how to start.
And that's some of the stuff that we mention in our Enrich and Transform guide for call committees, is how to bring this issue up with their congregation, get them to talk about it ahead of time. There are some guidelines for the call committee on how to make sure that the congregation is sort of aware of what they're thinking and to help them along the way. And some guides about interviewing LGBTQ people.
This is one of a number of resources. It can be downloaded, photocopied. We want people to use it.
You can find the resource on our website, www.elm.org/resources.
We're in a really good place here, and I like the direction that we're going. And we're engaging more and more of the young folks in the community to become engaged and involved in the mission of our congregation.
Financially, I think we're better than we were 5 years ago. And attendance and faith formation, Vacation Bible School, just, exploding with children.
But what Brian brings with him is an enthusiasm and a real mission, a real call to do God's work.
Some of the folks that left have now come back and worship with us. I think they come back because in this place they experience God. And maybe that's an experience of God changing them a little bit now.
I grew up here, so it's nice to see the life continue. Faithfulness continues. God put him here for us, and God could put somebody there for you.